Hello guys, today we'll be looking at hypothesis testing. Every day we used to make a claim about something, maybe a population. Sometimes the claim might be true or false. We don't know. But all I know is that we used to make a claim. Now, any statement or assumption about a population parameter which can either be true or false is called a hypothesis. What did I say? Any statement or assumption made about a population parameter which can either be true or false is called a hypothesis. For instance, a phone battery manufacturing company might claim that the mean life of their battery is 20 hours. That is, when the battery is fully charged, it takes 20 hours for the battery to be off. Now, that is just a claim. It has not been verified. And in order to ascertain whether that claim is to be accepted or rejected, we do what? We take a sample out of the total population. So as a statistician, you are called and to test the hypothesis about that particular claim that company made. So first of all, you select a sample. You select a sample from the total population. So and perform your analysis. Now that process is called hypothesis testing. So hypothesis testing is simply defined as a statistical procedure or method for making used for making decision about a population parameter using sample data. What did I say? A hypothesis testing is a statistical procedure or method used for making decision about a population using a sample data. In hypothesis testing, we make decision about the total population using a selected sample data. For instance, that example that a phone battery manufacturing company claims that their mean life of their battery is 20 hours. As a statistician, you're called to ascertain or to help know whether if that claim is to be accepted or rejected. You first of all take a sample from the total population and now perform your statistical analysis. Now, in hypothesis, it is divided into two. So we have null types of hypothesis. Number one, we have null hypothesis. And number two, we have alternative hypothesis. What did I say? We have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Now let's start with the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is normally denoted as H0. So we use H0 to denote a null hypothesis. And this hypothesis normally states that there is no difference in the claim made by anybody. It normally states that there is no difference. For instance, the company claims that mu, which is the mean life of the battery is what? Is equals to 20. So this H naught states that there is no difference in the claim made. Okay, now that will give us the alternative hypothesis, which is represented as what? H1. Alternative hypothesis denoted as H1. So the second is the alternative hypothesis, which is represented as H1. This one normally contradicts the null hypothesis. It states that there is a difference between the claim. Now it's not left for you to perform your analysis to know if you are to what? Accept the H naught or to reject the H naught. Now, a hypothesis can be 1/3 or 2/3. What did I say? A hypothesis can be 1/3 or 2/3 test. Hypothesis can be 1/3 test or 2/3 test. So we'll be looking at when a hypothesis is said to be 1/3 test or 2/3 test. Now, when a hypothesis, when you have something like this, that H naught is equals to mu less than or equals to 20 and H1 mu is greater than 20, okay, we have something like H naught mu is greater than or equal to 20, H1 mu less than 20, and we have H naught mu equals to 20 and H1 mu not equal to 20. A hypothesis is said to be 1/3 test if the hypothesis, the null and alternative hypothesis, is directional. What that mean by directional? What that mean by directional? If you have your hypothesis and it says that this mu is what? The mean rate of the occurrence. What does the mean rate of the pattern? So we have our mu here to be what? Less than or equal to what? 20. It's suggesting that our mean can be less than or equal to 20. It is not what? Specific. So which means it is what? Directional. It can be less or equal. And our H1 suggests that our mean is what? Is greater than 20. So this hypothesis, when a hypothesis says something like this, we call it what? 1/3 test. So because it is what? Directional or one-sided. Now, when we have something like this too, this is also directional. This suggests that our H naught is mu is greater than or equal to 20, and our H1, our mu, is less than 20. It's still one-sided, which means that it is a 1/3 test. because it is directional. But when we come to two-third test, the hypothesis there is what? Non-directional. So when you have a hypothesis like this, that our H naught mu is equals to what? 20. This says that our mu is exactly 20. It is specific that our mean is what? 20. And our alternative, which contradicts the new hypothesis, states that this is not equal to 20. Okay? When you have a hypothesis like this, we call it what? A two-third test. So a one-third test is a hypothesis which is one-sided, which is directional, while the two-third test is a hypothesis which is what? Non-directional. That is, it is not a one-sided. Okay? Now, hypothesis, the benefit of what? Hypothesis testing. The benefit of hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing is very important in research and in decision making because it provides an objective way of using sample data to determine whether a claim about a population is supported by an evidence. That is, a hypothesis testing helps to determine whether the observed difference are real or due to chance. So that is what a hypothesis. That is why a hypothesis is very important in research and in decision making. In our next class, we will be looking at steps in carrying out hypothesis testing and type 1 and type 2 errors in hypothesis testing. So if this lecture is helpful to you, you can subscribe to our channel for more information, for more updates. Thank you.